Have you ever noticed how the same gesture dance suddenly appears everywhere online? The same hand movements, the same music, repeated by thousands, sometimes even millions of people. You scroll for a few seconds and you see it again and again. Different people, different places, but somehow doing the exactly same thing. Here's a video I selected randomly on TikTok. And there's still even more. I search for the keywords gesture dance and there are countless videos just pop up. At first glance, it might seem like nothing more than a simple trend, or even just people copying each other without much thought. It can look repetitive, maybe even a little meaningless. But if so many people are doing the same gestures, there must be something more going on. Why do people keep participating? Why does copying feel engaging rather than boring? And why does it spread so quickly across platforms like Douyin or Xiaohongshu? Instead of seeing gesture dance as just entertainment, it might be more useful to think of it as a form of cultural activity. A space where people don't just consume content, but also recreate, share, and interact with it. This leads to an important question. Is gesture dance simply a viral trend, or can it be understood as a form of participatory culture? In this video, I will explore this question by using academic research on participatory culture and digital media together with interview data to examine how people actually engage with gesture dance online. So my video gonna be divided into 5 parts. Part 1, the definition of participatory culture. Part 2, my 4 reasons to support my stand. Part 3, 2 counter-arguments someone may have. Part 4, my answer to those arguments. And Part 5, the conclusion. So before starting my video, I want to introduce my interviewees. The first interviewee is female. She's 19. She's a freshman in Donghua University, which is in the interview video 1. And the second interviewee is male. He's 18. He also is a freshman in ECUS, which is in the interview video 2. So first, here's the definition of participatory culture. To answer whether gesture dance is a form of participatory culture, it's first necessary to define what participatory culture means. So, according to Henry Jenkins in 2013, participatory culture refers to a form of culture in which individuals are not simply consumers of media, but active participants who create, share, and circulate content. Jenkins identifies several important features of participatory culture, including relatively low barriers to participation, support for user-generated creation, informal learning through imitation and mentorship, and also a sense of social connection among participants. In this framework, participation is not just about consuming content, but about contributing to a collective cultural production. Based on this definition, I believe gesture dance can be understood as a participatory culture. So here's my first argument. So first reason, gesture dance can be considered participatory culture is that it has a low barrier to participation. So one of Jenkins' core arguments is that participatory culture allows ordinary people to contribute without needing specialized expertise. Gesture dance fits this description because it is simple, easy to learn, and open to almost anyone with access to a phone and social media platform. Unlike professional dance forms that often require training, gesture dance is designed to be imitated quickly. Also, from my interview, the male participant explained that he originally joined only because his girlfriend invited him to film with her, even though he had no prior interest in dance.
I wasn't interested in it at first, but my girlfriend asked me to do it with her.
Oh,
Yeah.
can you briefly describe your first experience with gesture dance?
Oh, she saw a video clip and she asked me to do it with her.
Your girlfriend?
Yes, my girlfriend. And I think it was very awkward at first. But she kept telling me that it was super easy and eventually, I give it a try.
How did you feel after filming it?
Surprisingly, it was very enjoyable. At first, I think it was very silly, but once you get into it, you may find it very interesting.
His participation emerged casually through social influence rather than technical skill. Similarly, a female interviewee described starting gesture dance simply because it looked fun and easy. So, when did you first start doing gesture dance?
I think it was a few years ago. I saw some videos online and thought they were really cute and easy to follow. So I just tried it myself.
Yeah, me too. Both interviews suggest that gesture dance lowers the barrier for participation, which strongly align with Jenkins' concept of low barriers. Here's my second argument. A second reason gesture dance reflects a participatory culture is that it depends on user-generated creation and collaborative production. Participatory culture is not only about access, but about people actively producing and sharing content. Gesture dance operates through a cycle of imitation, adaptation, and recirculation. Users do not merely watch trends, they participate by recreating and sometimes modifying them. This idea is supported by Daniel Clark in his study from Cornell University in 2020. Performance and production practices in dance challenge videos on TikTok. In this research, Clark analyzed how users participate in TikTok dance challenges and how they produce content. He finds that participants do not simply copy dances, but often treat copying as a creative process, adding small variation while still following a shared format. This supports my argument that gesture dance involves user-generated content and collective creativity. My interview also supports this point. Both participants describe following trends while occasionally adding personal touches, such as changing movements or incorporating interaction. Do you usually imitate others or do you add your own creativity?
Mostly imitation, because gesture dance is fixed. So I just add some interactions and change some moves sometimes.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Do you usually follow trends or create your own style?
Mostly I follow trends because because that's what everyone is doing. But sometimes I change small parts or add my own expressions to make it a bit different.
This suggests that gesture dance is not simple repetition, but a collaborative form of cultural production where users act both consumers and creators. In this sense, gesture dance reflects what Jenkins described as collective creativity. Next, gonna be my third argument. The third argument is that gesture dance creates shared meaning and cultural expression, which further support understanding it as participatory culture. Penn's article, published by Forum for Linguistic Studies in 2025, Dance as a Multimodal Semiotic System, provides another perspective. In this study, Penn argues that dance is not just physical movement, but a form of communication that combines gesture, rhythm, and expression to create meaning. This is important because it suggests that gesture dance is not just imitation, but also a way for users to express themselves and communicate ideas, which supports its role as a cultural practice. This idea is important because it frames gesture dance as meaningful expression rather than empty imitation. Through coordinated movements, rhythm, and performance, users may communicate emotion, identity, or belonging. Zhou, Liu, and Xu study, published by Comput Atom Virtual World in 2024, music conditioned to the hand gesture dance generation with HGS, focuses on modeling gesture dance using computational methods. Their research shows that gesture dance follows recognizable patterns and structured movement sequences that can be analyzed and reproduced. This supports my argument that gesture dance is based on shared conventions, allowing users to participate within a common cultural framework. Because users participate within shared symbolic patterns, gesture dance can be seen as culture form people collectively produce and recognize. This moves it beyond the level of entertainment and closer to the kind of meaning-making process associated with participatory culture. Finally, here's my last argument. A fourth reason gesture dance can be considered participatory culture is its social and community dimension. So for Jenkins, participation is not purely individual, it involves social connection. Gesture dance often depends on interaction through comments, like, dudes, collaborations, and participations in shared challenge. Even when users do not know one another personally, they may still experience a sense of belonging through participating in the same trend. This appeared clearly in the interviews, particularly when one participant described feeling connected because everyone is doing the same thing. So do you feel like you're part of a community?
Yeah, kind of. When a trend is popular, it feels like everyone is connected in some way. Even if we don't know each other, we are doing the same thing.
That sense of shared participation reflects community format, even in loose forms. Brow's work in 2014 focuses on how participatory practices develop through everyday media use and ordinary social interactions. In this study, Browse argued that participation is not limited to formal or highly visible forms of cultural production, but also includes routine activities such as sharing, interacting, and engaging with media in daily life. This article emphasizes that participation often emerges gradually as people incorporate media practices into their everyday habits and social relationships. Rather than viewing participation as something exceptional or creative in a traditional sense, Browse presents it as something embedded in common everyday experiences. This perspective broadens the definition of participation by including casual and repeated form of media engagement. Gesture dance, whether practiced with friends, partners, or strangers online, fits this understanding of socially embedded participation. However, critics may say, one critic is that many gesture dance trends rely heavily on copying fixed formats, which can reduce creativity and encourage conformity rather than pure cultural production. If users are simply repeating pre-existing patterns, some may argue that they are engaging in imitation rather than participation. Others may argue that a second critic concerns algorithm control. Xu and Zhong in 2022 examined how digital platforms influence user participation, particularly through algorithm systems and content recommendation mechanisms. In their study, they argue that participation on platforms is shaped by the way the content is selected, prioritized, and distributed to the users. The article highlights that algorithms play a key role in determining which content become visible and which trends gain popularity. As a result, user behavior is influenced by platform design, including recommendation systems and engagement metrics such as likes and shares. Xu and Zhong emphasize that participation is not entirely independent, but occurs within a structured environment where platform systems guide attention and interaction. This shows that digital participation is closely connected to technological process and algorithm. Algorithm influence which trends become visible and which creators gain attention, meaning user participation is often structured by platform logic rather than entirely driven by users themselves. From this perspective, gesture dance may be a less participatory culture and a more form of platform-managed engagement. So here's my answer to those arguments. While these critics are important, they do not ultimately disprove the argument. Imitation does not exclude participation. In many forms of participatory culture, imitation is part of creative engagement. So Jenkins explicitly identifies informal learning through observing and reproducing others as central to participation. Similarly, algorithm mediation may shape participation, but it does not eliminate user agency. Participants still choose to adapt, perform, and circulate content without those structures. Rather than disqualifying gesture dance as a participatory culture, these limits suggest that gesture dance is a mediated form of participatory culture shaped by both users and platforms. So now, all of these reach to my conclusion. Overall, gesture dance should be understood as a form of participatory culture because it demonstrates low barrier to entry, user-generated creation, shared meaning-making, and social interactions, all of which align with Jenkins' definition. Evidence from scholarship and interviews support the view that participants do more than consume content, they actively contribute to a collaborative digital culture practice. Although this participation is influenced by algorithm and trend structures, those constraints do not outweigh the participatory feature of the practice. Instead, they reveal the complexity of participation in digital environments. For these reasons, gesture dance is best understood as a contemporary form of participatory culture. These are my references. This is the end of my video. Thank you for watching.